You showed me the other day when we were having a quick one-to-one, and it was something I didn't realise. Can you show how you can put your turntable on?
Yeah,
Because I think it's a nice one to capture while we're catching this video.
yeah, no problem. Let's just give myself a bit more real estate for this. Um, so turntable is it file options? It's add here. So we can do things that we can add all sorts of different things. We can add images, a fast clock, turntable, and reporter labels. Reporter labels are quite good because you can attach those to locomotives. And as locomotives move around the track, they will follow the reporter label follows them over. But again, it's a bit advanced. So we've got a turntable there, and straight away you look at that, it's yellow. That's because we set the yellow track to yellow again. So let's turn that off and put that back to black again. So we want to go track options, default track colors, set track color, default track color is yellow. Let's make it black again. We'll say OK to that, and there it's sort of gone black. Right. So there's a turntable at the moment, which has got four legs and four spikes on it. Now, if we can edit those, and we can set up a new ray track here. So if we wanted to make it 5, we can make a new one. So we've got unconnected ray, track 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we can set different angles on them. So for instance, we could, if we really want to do, say, 320 on that one, we'll say done for that. And so we can now see we've added that extra one in. Alternatively, we can move them around like that. So we can set them wherever we want them to be. Now, what I've done on my layout is something a little bit different. The turntable at the moment is, if we edit again, here we go. There's this thing here that we can make it a DCC controlled turntable. Obviously, that's only going to work if you've got hardware that can cope with that. But what I've decided to do is, rather than control it with DCC, I've added some extra sensors, and we can change the image of a sensor. So for instance, if we were to add a sensor onto this page here, so let's add a sensor icon, and we want to select what sensor we're going to add to it. So I'm going to use, these are just odd, I don't know where they come from, but I'm going to just a DS1 sensor because it's easy enough to do. So I'm just going to hold the shift key down, and there's our sensor there, which we've now added. Of course, we can move it and we can put it wherever we want. At the moment, I've got it's snapping to the grid, which means that I can't get it directly on the track, but I would just need to turn off options, set grid options here, and then snap when moving. So we're going to turn that off, so I can now move that, and I can now drop it exactly where I want on the middle of that track. So we could use that, say, for a stop sensor if we wanted to, or something like that. There we go. So we can either click it and it works like a switch, and so it's either going between grey or yellow being activated, or if it was an optical sensor, it would change automatically as the train went over it, provided we set it all up through JMRI. So CMRI, sorry. So we can set that, but then we might decide we wanted to do something like, where is edit sensor?
There's edit sensor icon about a third of the way down. Is that what you want?
Thank you. I couldn't see it. Okay, so we're doing DS1, and we're changing the sensor there, so we can tell it to change the icon. So we can click on that. Now, you get some icons free with JMRI, but you can make your own. But we're going to look in the program directory under icons, and these are all. Let me give you a little bit more space so we can see them a bit clearer. So these are all different. I don't know what an AARG graphical symbol has 34 images, and these are the images that are in there. So these are for, I don't know, some American place perhaps. Let's make this a bit wider. So we've got British Rail signals in here, so we can do different aspects for British Rail. We can, and there's junction indicators. We've got large British Rail signals, medium. So you can see here that we've got loads of different sensor things, or we can add these. These are all just icons that are there. We could add this as an icon. It would be a bit silly to add it as an icon, but we would certainly want to add that as an image onto our layout if we
But
want.
would it change from danger to proceed when you've actually activated it? Or are they
Yes, you'd set that up to do it. So you'd obviously, to change a signal from danger to proceed, then you would need to have something that determined exactly what that was and different points. So for instance, this would be a slightly, what's that? A semi-home danger or a semi-home danger. They're different styles, different types. So you just set them up to say if the sensor was active. All right, let's try it. Let's see. I've never done this. Let's try it. I think it could work.
I'm just thinking, if you had a conventional row of levers like a traditional signal box, which is how a lot of people like to operate their panels,
Yeah.
but if you pull the lever, the servo operates the signal. Once the lever is pulled and the switch is set, that's your sensor.
Right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on it and I'm going to drag it onto there. I'm going to click on this one and drag it onto there. So we've got one for active and that put in that. I've got it the wrong way around, but it doesn't matter. So if we say now, update the panel. So now if we click on that.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So that means that's how you would set your signals. So when you do that with a sensor, if we've got our sensor down here, which was, what did I say? It was DS1 or something?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you don't need a sensor to tell you when the signal's up because you've pulled the lever. That's the switch.
The switch is the sensor.
Oh, I see.
So you can have the switch on your panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your panel switches the sensor, which changes the icon. And all you're doing is changing the image of the icon there. That's all you're doing. But you can set the icon to whatever images you want by doing that. And what I did on my turntable was I just set up little bits of track. I set up an images. I created my own images, which had the position of the bridge in the different positions depending on whether it was. I call it head in or tail in. So you know that obviously the bridge can be either way around. So I just set the same image, just rotated it around, set the right position, so that depending on whichever position we had that in, it would show as the right position. So I can't show you on this one because I haven't. I had to generate my own icons, but in effect, what I was doing here was to adding a sensor. So, for instance, if we can say adding a sensor here, so that would be, let's just say DC. Let's just put that one in there for the time being. I'll hit Shift, and then, so there we go. I've added a sensor now into my turntable, and what I can do is to change that sensor. Sorry, I'm on the turntable there. This is another bit of a disappointing thing. Edit and turning the sensor. It's annoying that if you have one thing on top of another, particularly if it's in the sensor, it's in the circle in there. That is the operating point of the turntable. So that's the bit you click. But if you've got a sensor in the middle of the bit you click, you can't click the sensor because the turntable face. So you've got to move it away, do what you want to do with it, and then put it back in place again. So again, we can exactly here, we can say edit sensor icon, and we're going to do DS2. We're going to change the icon, and I don't know what we've got in here. There's all sorts of different things. It's interesting to have a look around. We've got some original icons. What are they? No, none of them in. That's where you can put your own. So we've got icons in there. We've got miscellaneous. Nixie tubes. All these. I mean, the switchboard thing. Have we got something that looks like? We could. You get the idea anyway. So we could use something like. None of these would work for a turntable particularly well. I'm just looking for a black strip. That's all. See if there's nothing on the miscellaneous panels. CSD. I don't know what CSD means. Oh, And it's even more letters. JOP, that's what. There's thousands of them.
TLA.
Buffer stops. So I didn't realise about that. But you get the idea there. So we can change it. I mean, if we were to put that in, so we can push that into the icon there, and we can put this one into the icon here. So the ones, sorry.
I'm not quite sure
I think
how.
there was one there that said track, Steve. That might be something that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm not quite
On
sure
the
how you
left.
make a buffer inactive, other than by accidentally demolishing it.
Active and inactive. Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about putting it on the I'm trying to use this as a long strip, but I can't find anything very quickly. Just do a little curve in here. It's getting closer, isn't it? So curve. If I had a straight, it would be great.
So what is it you're trying to do?
Well, what I wanted to do, I'll just do this here. That is for active in there, and inactive, I'll just put nothing in there for inactive. So I'm trying to describe what I did on mine. I'm going to make it yellow just for the sake of argument. I'm going to say okay for that. So I'm going to update the panel and close it. Right. So we got this into here. So what we would then, if it was straight, we could say, right, that's our little bridge. So that when this sensor is in that position, which is D2, yeah, we can then show us where. So you could make it clear. You can make something clear, or you don't have a sensor at all, so that when it's in that position, it lights up that way. And if it's in a different position, you can rotate it. I'm pretty sure you can rotate it, and rotate it. So that's rotating orthogonal, rotate degrees. So there we go. We can rotate it in degrees. So we can say, okay, let's have that at 45 degrees or something like that. I'll do. We'll say okay to that. So now we've got this. So we can now, by rotating them, we can put these in their angles that we want them to go in. So that when we select our turntable position, we can we have a multiple of these. We have loads of them. And we have one for each position. So that when we're selecting our turntable position by sending signals to it, we can change the way our turntable looks. But it's purely a visual thing. It doesn't actually do anything. It's just visual. But we can then say, we can also have, on my layout, I have just another big sensor. So I would put, that's DS2, DS3. And so we'll have a new sensor in there. I will now right click on that, change the icon, and change the icon, program directory. I don't know if I can get a big one. Large schematics aspects. See if there's anything in there that we can get a large aspect of. No. These are all different makes of signals that we could.
Yeah, they're American by the look of it.
They're American, yeah. I'm looking for a nice big button. There is one in there because I used one myself. I can't remember where it is, but they're all American signals. So that's not going to help us. But you can get a big button and you can change, or you can draw your own.
Under MISC?
Yeah, that's a possible, isn't it? LCD that we've already been through.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of I don't know, but just for the sake of argument, we can go between there and we can go between there and there, and we can put whatever we want into that. Say update the panel, and there's our Nixie, and then as we click it, we're changing between 1 and 0. So if you get the idea of how you can set anything you want, and you can use them as buttons, or you can change them. You can change them from the sensors. But if you set it up through JMRI, you can make these changes as well by buttons on the panel, or you can use sensors depending where the loco is. And so the versatility of this is, I mean, we're just scratching the surface of this here, particularly as you can draw your own icons. And so the amount of control you can get with this is quite astounding. So that's basically how you would add a turntable.